What's good everyone, yadiiiigg, 4 eyes, 2 G's here, and today we're here to reflect on the year that was 2018, and more specifically going through the artists that maybe didn't perform quite as well as they would have hoped commercially, and you could even say flopped. Pretty straightforward, so let's get into it. And the first artist or artists to discuss are Rae Sremmurd, who early on in the year pulled the "let's jam as many songs as possible onto our album in the hopes that sheer quantity will inflate our streaming numbers and boost our first week sales." More so than this, they even gave us a solo album each, caving into fans' longtime wishes. So their third effort turned into 3 albums totaling 27 songs. But even despite this, it still only did 57k first week, which, to put in perspective, is less than the likes of Cardi, Trippie Redd, and Lil Baby. And we do know that they are single artists, and that's how they came up and stay relevant, so these numbers aren't completely terrible, but to pull the 3 album 27 song trick to inflate your numbers, but still only pull through with 57k, definitely a flop, and it's one of the biggest ones this year. Also guys, just a reminder, if you haven't, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to my channel if you aren't, turn on those notifications so you don't miss a video, and follow me on all social medias for more. But moving on, and the next one I want to discuss is Lil Yachty, and specifically his second effort later on in the year, Nothing to Prove, which only ended up selling 40k first week, and even in the aftermath of the album, none of the songs seemed to be doing any huge numbers. Get Dripped and Yacht Club, mainly thanks to the Cardi and Juice features, seem to be having a little bit of success, but still it's nothing too major. And as I said in my video on the album I did earlier, Boat really needs to go back to the drawing board and get some solid direction, because these misguided feature-filled projects just aren't working for him, especially commercially, and it's clear that his fans really aren't feeling him that much either, with the overall reception of the albums being pretty lukewarm. But moving on from Lil Yachty, and in my opinion what is the second biggest flop of the year, we have A$AP Rocky. And when you look at the testing era for Rocky, with the lengthy rollout which was littered with average releases like Above and Bad Company, which eventually led to the album being released that was met with mixed reception to say the least, and only sold 75k, this era was a flop for Rocky. And this is worsened by the fact that Rocky, back in 2012, was regarded as an artist that was poised to be on the level of your Kendricks and your Drakes, but now we're selling what newcomers like Lil Baby, Trippie Redd, and Black are selling. Thankfully though, praise the Lord, deservedly so, did go on to become a pretty big hit, and with it doing numbers internationally, it helped to bolster Rocky back into relevance. So with that in mind, you can't call the entire year for Rocky a flop, but when you look at the rollout for testing, which was a culmination of 3 years of work and a lengthy hype cycle, compared to the actual quality, commercial performance, and reception of the album from the fans, it was a flop. And lastly, we have what I believe was the biggest flop for the year, which is Nicki Minaj with Queen. Now, to be honest, Nicki selling nearly 200k first week isn't even that bad, but when you start to look at the entire rollout for Nicki, that's when it really starts to look a certain way. And let's firstly talk about the singles for the album. Simply put, her lead singles for Queen all underperformed relative to her other album rollouts, and this is partly what led to her album not doing very well initially, because usually she has these huge radio smashes to lead her into an album, but this time around, she had no real hit single of her own. So when it came to the release week of Queen and the projections were coming in low, she had to do everything in her power to bring attention to the album. She went on Funk Flex, she went on Ellen, she had Queen Radio, and of course, last but definitely not least, the Travis Scott beef, which above all else screamed desperation. Also, what made it look even worse was the fact that a whole spat towards Travis was that he was selling merch and tour bundles as albums, but when her sales were looking low, she turned around and started selling her album for $5 as a bundle with a poster and a title trial, which just made her look like a hypocrite in my opinion. When you look at the Queen era for Nicki holistically, from single after single failing, to her desperately trying to get attention, to her eventually doing $5 album bundles as a last ditch effort to go number 1, and then failing to go number 1, it was a fall from grace for the Queen. And that's all from me today guys, thanks a lot for watching and I hope you enjoyed the video. In the comments below, let me know what you thought about these flops and anyone else that you think flopped this year. If you haven't, please make sure to like, also subscribe subscribe to my channel if you aren't, turn on notifications so you don't miss a video, and follow me on all social medias for more.